It's Yola here on World Cafe. In the studio, a performance of Symphony. It's from the new EP, which is available now. It's called My Way. In addition, she just wrapped her performance as Persephone on Broadway in the musical Hadestown. And Yola is my guest today on World Cafe. It is so nice to see you. Welcome back to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me again. It's great to be back.
Absolutely. How are you doing? How are things?
Things are freaking dope.
Really?
I know.
Well, I'm imagining part of it has to do with the new music that you just released.
It has everything to do with the music, new music.
All right.
It's my happy place.
I'm so glad you said happy place, because I would challenge anybody to listen to this EP and try and keep a smile from coming across your face. No, there's such a joyous record. And it's interesting because it's an EP, but it feels more weighty than an EP. And, you know, I'm sure part of it is people haven't heard your music for 3 years and you know, but it feels more important that way. And I would love to hear a little bit about your vision for My Way.
Well, I think my vision for My Way was very much trying to tell a little bit of the sonic story of where I came from, because it dawned on me that I hadn't really talked a lot, if at all, about where I started out professionally in music.
Okay.
I've spoken a lot about, you know, like things that had inspired my previous records, events of my life, but I hadn't really talked about my career. Like, from the UK, you can't really launch an international career, least of all in America, like, unless you're a trust fund kid, if you don't have like a serious amount of freaking money behind you, or you haven't been like ridden like a prize pony by like, you know, some kind of boy band, girl band conglomerate that then lifts you up so you can work for them for however long, hoping that when you're done with that contract, you have some profile to take out on your own. Like, there are the two ways that you get out of the UK as an artist. And I broke every single one of the rules. Not even one remained intact. I wasn't supposed to be here. I wasn't supposed to be doing any of this. And so it feels like the way that I did things like needs to be commented on. And also where I came from musically needs to be commented on. And this record is a little bit of a commentary on that. Just my love of the kind of 80s soul aesthetic, my first job with Bugs in the Attic back in the mid-2000s. I know, like, how could I be? I would have been only like 5 years old, right? Like,
Sure.
you know, yeah, that era was a really, really, like, important time for music in the UK. And at the time of me being involved in that scene, I feel like that's where I cut my teeth and where I got a lot of the things that like made me want to pursue music as an individual artist came from my time in that band and in that scene in West London. And so I got nodules and I lost my voice for like a year and a half. I couldn't speak for 2 months. Whoa. And I had to like walk around with like a whiteboard and just like write on it. And when I came back to having kind of like fixed my voice, the scene had been kind of, all the air had been suffocated out of it, because it was trying to rise at the same time as grime, at the same time as UK garage, at the same time as dubstep. And so like with all of those new genres and the petering down of trip hop and the petering down of drum and bass, Broken Beat kind of got choked out of that, because the music was mad groovy, but you kind of had to be Prince to kind of get into it. And so a lot of the people, like the producers and the players, were savants. A lot of the singers were genius.
And we're talking about Bugs in the Attic, right?
Yeah. And For Hero and DJs like Giles Peterson, and like who would have been known on the BBC for being like the rare groove side of
the tastemakers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So for our American audience, because there was so much to unpack from your answer, since we're talking about Broken Beat, Bugs in the Attic, and your association with that, you know, we're talking like what, early aughts for this?
Yeah.
Right, but as trip hop and garage and stuff like that.
Well, trip hop was going like this. Garage was like up here.
So,
like,
but this is a different kind of space that this group is occupying, because it's not quite those things. Like, you couldn't.
It's not any of those things.
So how would you describe Broken Beat to someone listening, you know?
I'd say there's definitely a lot of like that kind of rare groove soul in it.
Yeah.
A lot of like 80s soul aesthetic in it. But then like it's a lot of it is rooted in jazz. It's like jazz-rooted, kind of Afro-beaty dance music.
Yeah, and it's genre fluid, as you often like to say.
It's profoundly fluid. So when people are like, so genre fluid, what is that? Why are you like this? I'm like, because I've been like this since 2004. Like, I don't have to break it to you guys, but this ain't new. As Brits, we absorb music like this anyway, because like we don't get it like all genred from America. Like if we think of it as almost like arriving at vanishing point, you know?
Yeah.
You think something comes from Louisiana, something comes from New York, and then, but by the time it reaches us, it's at vanishing point, and they feel so much closer. That perspective really gives you that sense of the relation and the proximity of like the influence. So we like to draw the through lines because we ain't from here. But also you'll notice every time like Brits interact with something, they add some weird spice, and then we hand it back to Americans go, what do you think about that? And like Broken Beat was no different.
It's World Cafe. If you're just joining us, we're here with Yola. The new EP is called My Way. It's definitely a departure, and it's definitely more in line with some of the music that you fell in love with growing up. So why was the time now to do that?
Well, I think the time was now specifically because with the first record, I was like, I'd been building up to this communing with the passing of my mother, and we bonded pretty much solidly over Shania Twain. And so like my kind of visiting of that area was very much the grief process, you know? But as time goes on, like you never are like, cool, parental death, but like, it's not like easy.
No.
But it definitely like it's there, and the kind of the corners get duller, you know?
Yeah.
And so I didn't need to be going through the stages of grief once I'd been hitting those stages, you know?
Yeah. You can't live there forever.
Can't live there forever. You don't need to. It's not healthy to.
Great point.
And so it's just, I felt like I'd done that with the first record. And so then the second record, songs like If I Had to Do It All Again, songs like Now You're Here, songs like Barely Alive, songs like Dancing Away in Tears, songs like Starlight. We're already at 5 songs on a 12-song record, and they're all soul music.
Yeah.
And so, like, I was making a real intent on that second record to kind of go, now I need to start steering towards that kind of, you know, soul music, rare groove music, which I think really is exemplified in Dancing Away in Tears. So then on, like, the live show, I very unsubtly signposted that where I was going to be going.
Yeah.
So for the last 3 years of touring, I've been covering like Yarborough Peoples and Anita Baker.
And Soul to Soul.
And Soul to Soul. And I've been being very, very unsubtle about the direction. So by the time I even like hinted at like I was going to be doing something different, my fans were like, duh. we already know.
Right. You would be more surprised if there was a third record that
was
sounded
the same.
like the first.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, like I wanted, and in a way, I wanted to do it that way through the live show because it feels like a departure unless you saw me on tour in 21 and 22. If you saw me on tour, you're not surprised. If you didn't, then you are surprised. Yeah. And I wanted to kind of identify the hardcore because my hardcore are the dopest people. I'm sure other people's fans are fine. I'm sure you're having a great time with your fans, but mine are dope as heck.
Okay.
You can't beat them. And so I just wanted to draw them out because I know they're the best. And so, yeah, like that was kind of part of the plan. So by the time we get to doing this, it's right on time.
Yeah.
And it's also, I'm also out of like my contract with like my previous label. I've restructured somewhat to be able to get just things that are more reflective of the way that I like to write and operate, or I like to do business, or I like to do anything, like on multiple different levels of my machine. Like I've had I suppose the bargaining power to restructure everything in my team so that I can actually use all of my skills, because I spent a decent amount of my life alongside being in Bugs in the Attic, being in a production team, doing sample replays for about 16 years. So that involves a lot of production knowledge, and I didn't really get much chance to use any of it. So you get to hear me as a producer now as well, which is nice.
The synths, the power chords in the chorus. Future Enemies is has banger written all over it. But I want to know how this song started out.
Okay. Well, it started out, this is the only song that didn't have a pre-demo. I'll get into explaining that. I went into the studio with Sean Douglas and Zachary Skelton, and we had met just then. And I was scanning the room for vibes, and their vibes were immaculate.
Oh, that's good.
Like just the most immaculate vibes.
Had you met them before walking into? Oh, so like a producer blind date, and you're working.
Yeah, and like I was talking to a manager at the time, and I was like, find me some like immaculate vibes. Just find me. I don't care who they are. Find me the immaculate vibes. People that aren't like trying to. I'm coining this term everywhere I go at the moment. Skin suiting, a verb that means someone trying to put you on like a skin suit and walk your body through their dreams, to live vicariously through your skill set, and with no thought to what you want to do or your plan for your own life. Essentially like Get Out, the movie. That's been a lot of my life. All of my life. So when I met Sean and Zach, they had none of that energy. None of that, I have a dream for your skills. It was like, I'm just curious about what you want to do.
Yeah.
I've got like some random ideas in my voice notes. I play them and we start building a track. And as we're building, I always start with a bass line. I always start with a drum pattern after that or something like that. We start getting the aesthetic. We start listening to music and building this song, and the melody starts emanating. Because I like to write a bass line that counterpoints a melody, and that's how I kind of start sleuthing what the chord structure is in my mind.
Does that process take a while?
No, it takes split seconds.
So in your head, you're just processing where you want to go, what you hear.
Yeah, like, because everything that I do in the writing process, like, is really what I call nuggets. They're my voice notes. But the reason, what makes a voice note a nugget is, like, it's an idea that's worth pursuing. If it's a nugget of gold. It's like something that you know there's something in it.
Yeah, probably doesn't take you long to figure out whether you're going to keep something or not.
Yeah, exactly. You know, because it gives you that, oh, this is something. I need to capture it. And then you listen to it back and it still engages you. And you're like, I know what this is. I know what this is. And then you can hear it with the whole production in your head. So you've just got to find people who are able to translate that are fully looking to engage with you. And there have been many times in my life where people aren't looking to engage with you because they're too busy in their own head thinking about their plan for you, more than actually looking at you to figure out what you're thinking. Because if they can do that, then that's when the bouncing occurs, because they get what you're thinking. They go, ooh, and then we can do this. I'm like, great idea. Then we can do that. Great idea. And then we can do that. Great idea.
You're playing catch.
That's where the catch starts.
Yeah.
But people are shit collaborators a lot of the time. They don't know that they don't know how to collaborate. They don't, in the same way as people don't know about consent sometimes.
Yeah.
Because they don't know how to not be rapacious in their collaborative skills.
I think you don't hear about it as much, probably because everyone's trying to be polite when they're out here talking, right? So I get there's, people are trying to protect feelings and stuff like that.
Yeah, people are always trying to freaking coddle fragility, and it's more than that. It's like, because
protect
some
their
people,
own.
no, people don't. What happens is that people don't protect certain people and they protect others, and so it's very selective. That sense of protection, it's not handed out evenly. So when you meet people that they have such a sense of to be open, like truly open, it's one of the most revelatory feelings that you'll get as a writer. One of the most joyful feelings. And And that translates itself into the music. And I think one of the things that can be really contagious about listening to music is hearing that joy caught. And so, like, when we're making this song, like, that free exchange is happening. Like, I'm not really thinking hard. I'm really trying to not think, actually. I'm trying to not use my prefrontal cortex and use my superior colliculus.
Right, and let it and feel the lyrics come to you.
Yeah, because they'll percolate through all the things you're not paying attention to, and so like that's what I'm trying to do. Zach's like literally like a million hands doing things. Sean's on the piano going, "What are these the chords? Are these the chords? Are these the chords?" And so we're all kind of like nutty professoring this whole situation out. There aren't barriers to who's allowed to do what or who's invited to do what. It's like, get in where you're good, you know? And that is the most joyful interaction I've ever had in music, bar none.
Wow, that's incredible. That's really great, and you deserve it. It should have.
Hey,
It should have been
it should
sooner.
be like
sooner.
this.
Yeah, it should have been sooner, right?
Yeah, it should have been.
Well, more with Yola, but in a moment, a song about maybe some of the people that she just spoke about. It's called "Future Enemies."
Yeah, hey.
Recorded live for World Cafe.
I know you're feeling how you're feeling. It's a stone cold bitch, this temptation. And you're looking how you're looking, so it's even harder to say no to what I want. Sometimes I think of how I wish I never met you. Then I don't have to forget you. Why don't we just love? So I don't wish I never met you. Maybe we were never meant to. You better believe whenever you think that you want it,
Recorded live on World Cafe. It's a performance of Future Enemies from my guest Yola. The new EP is available now. It is called My Way. I am Kallao. This is World Cafe here with Yola. All right, I love a good press release quote. Here's one from you saying, "My way is not about creative dictatorship." Want to talk about creative dictatorship and what you were trying to get out of and what the ideal is for you?
So for me, my way and the idea of creative dictatorship is the thing that I referred to earlier. The concept of skin suiting. It's basically like living in a parody of Get Out, where people crank them into your body and run your body around their dreams because they can't. And the number of times that I've wanted to say to somebody, if you want to do this thing, why don't you sign yourself and you do it?
Yeah.
But no, they need my body to do it. And so most of my life...
Like you're a vehicle, sort of?
Yeah. And the idea of my agency or my consent are moot.
Yeah.
My way isn't like being reactionarily dictatorial against that energy. It's almost like a complete departure from that world to go, I want to go to a completely other world where my way is collaborative. Mm-hmm. My way is open. My way is in a world where you don't need to be dictatorial because everyone's bringing what they need to do. And no one's got an agenda that they are trying to sneak into my process. Yeah. And that's really what my way is.
I like that, though. Yeah. Having that autonomy, having that creative control, not being someone else's avatar. It's clearly very important to you. You've been at this, as you pointed out, working in production for, over 2 decades of being a musician. When did that become a priority for you? Because some artists come out of the gate going, I'm always going to do it my way. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes it takes them building themselves up or dealing with some BS for them to sort of like activate that, wait a minute, I'm not doing this the way I want to do it.
Yeah, I feel like it was a little bit of an arc because I just think like the 20s generally are just like a self-loathing and just like...
Saying yes to everything?
Yeah, and and we all do. We've all made those mistakes. Sure. We all know what it is. Like, it's not our fault. We're just figuring it out, And so I think just time is part of it. Also, I think losing my mum was part of it because we didn't have the easiest relationship by any stretch of the imagination. And like the kind of finality, there's something about losing a parent that's different than losing a friend or different than losing, like there's something psychological that happens. And like there's this weird clarity that you get where like, one, no one can talk BS to you at all. And like...
They shouldn't anyway.
No, but like you can see it. It's like you've got like the sight.
Yeah.
Who was I talking to about this? Anthony Mason, of all people, because we both were part of the Dead Parents Club. And like, and we're talking about like how you get some weird sight. Like this weird, like third eye opens and you can see BS from 8,000 miles off. And it gives you this ability to kind of at least imagine what you want your life to be like or the things that you would willingly tolerate for the next stage of your life.
What does that look like in practice? Does that mean finding the right people, setting a different schedule for yourself, putting more boundaries, stuff like that?
All of it. Yeah. Everything you just said. Yeah, all of that. It's really like right people, right place, like, and all of that needs money. Like, I mean, today it's a lot of money.
And probably vetting too. Like you gotta like actually like figure out these people and if they're trying to fit you a skin suit or something.
Yeah, exactly. And so sometimes it's just, and even when you already know, sometimes you don't have the knowledge of a space, especially if you're coming to a new country. And for me, a new country was necessary because like the UK's got like a limited list of like people that are going to advocate for, and for everyone else, they're like, well, who's got time?
Oh man.
And so you have to like do things yourself. So I had to kind of become my own rich daddy. And like, I did that by writing for other people and writing for other artists and doing like these kind of secretive features. And one of my songs got into the top 10 and the other one got into the top 5. And by the time they were done on their peaks and troughs in dance music, which is where I was writing for a lot of dance music DJ producers, I had enough money to launch my career in America. So I did.
So you found your way around having to be an idol or, like a manufactured pop star.
Exactly, because that's how the working classes come up in the UK. It's through those kinds of shows. I remember Harry Styles talking about how he used to work in a bakery and that people didn't understand what his life was like. And they don't, because class system is different in the UK. It's almost done on bloodline more than it does by arbitrary earning amount.
Yeah, but you're playing with house money now.
Yeah,
It feels like you can go any direction you want, but
that was the idea and the plan, was to coin or at least popularize the term genre fluidity, so that when I talked about it, that people would be like, yeah, because when I listened to you, even in your first record, the first single wasn't country soul.
Right.
It was classic pop. It was more like Wall of Sound, because it was Far Away Look, right?
Right.
And that ain't soul, and that ain't country.
it doesn't quite fit. And so I was thinking about that while I was listening to the EP, because it's like your voice can power any song and make it special. And I was thinking about guys like Ray Charles and folks like Aretha Franklin, who, they did gospel, but they also did pop, and they also did soul, and they did jazz, and, country, for Ray Charles and stuff like that. And it was like the voice, the sound, the lyrics, what they have to say, everything else it's not irrelevant. It's important, but it's like, we're here for you. Yeah,
it's so much. They're the people I trained on, like my first gigs were jazz gigs. Like, I'd sing like Ella Fitzgerald, take what you do, it's the way that you do it, that's what gets reason. Like you're doing all the kind of, standards and runs. They were my first shows out of school were jazz gigs. And so like I came up in a lot of different spaces, kind of all at once. Like school band that did rock music, out of school band that did jazz, then started collaborating with some like drum bass DJs.
So all of these,
it was always everything.
But the blueprint was there early in your career. Like what we're hearing now echoes back to those things.
That's kind of really what I'm trying to manifest, is an understanding of what it was like to be, a Black British millennial.
Let's listen to a live performance of My Way.
Yay!
Yola here on World Cafe.
You want control over me. Everybody knows that
Recorded live on World Cafe, it's Yola with the performance of My Way. It's the title track from her new EP. Yola also just finished a run on Broadway in Hadestown playing Persephone. I'm Kallao, it's World Cafe, here with Yola. These have been great performances, and I think we need to give some love to the people who are playing with you. Can you shout out who is joining you today?
Yes, I've got Kayla and Kirsten and Dom. Haley is on the ones and twos, aka the decks, spinning our tracks so we can sing. And we've got BGVs from Kayla Carpenter, who is on soprano. And we've got Kirsten on alto and sometimes mezzo, and I'm in on my mezzo and soprano in the middle. We're really super blessed.
Yeah, it sounds phenomenal. The last time we spoke, this was right around Elvis, the movie coming out. So we talked about your turn as Sister Rosetta Tharpe, and from the stage as a musician to the screen in Elvis, back to a stage, but a different stage on Broadway in Hadestown. You just finished your run playing Persephone. Mm-hmm. How was that experience?
It was physically agonizing and emotionally really quite intriguing, because you have to keep digging back into the well for a new emotion on the same thing. You need a new emotion. You have to have a new emotion. You've got to search for it. Even if it isn't there, you have to manufacture one. And so the idea of your reserves, of your emotional reserves, if you're vapid, it's going to be really tough for you.
Wow.
And if you're a little bit unhinged, it's going to be very, very, very emotionally draining for you. And so
how was it for you? I'm kidding.
And and if you're somewhere in the middle, then you'll be able to excavate something. What it doesn't take from your mind, it will take from your body.
Interesting.
And so mercifully, I was in the middle mentally, but physically, they hadn't had a plus-size Persephone. So I was about to F around and find out, and I really did. My legs were dead. For the first month, I couldn't walk.
Wow. Well,
I couldn't take one extra step outside of the theater.
When Ani was on, Ani DeFranco, who played Persephone in the Broadway show previously, she talked a lot about precision, because I said, what's the difference in terms of making the character your own and perform? And she's like, on this beat, my hand has to go here.
It does.
My eyes have to go here. When I sing this note, I have to be blocked a certain way. Mm-hmm. Did you find that precision was a challenge, or something you enjoyed, or just something you weren't even expecting?
I suppose, in a really super weird way. Mm-hmm. I used to work a part of a production company called Replay Heaven, and we would replay samples. And by that, we would recreate them almost exactly so that people could forego the mechanical royalty to whoever, so they could recoup their deals ever, and so and so you virtually model studios, you phonetically map singers, you listen to audio recordings, and every random little squeak or breath or weird thing you try and recreate everything exactly. So precision is a weirdly obsessive thing that you do, and I was doing that for 16 years.
So you might be the one person who wasn't in theater who was prepared for that kind of thing.
So I feel like a lot of my life was about being freakishly precise. Even in earlier parts, when I was in Bugs, I was also doing I used to battle dance with a friend of mine called Kengo Washima. Shout out Kengo Washima. And who's a DJ, and he was in a band that they'd always do things like Gumball Rally, and they were always the people that would be asked to host shows and stuff like that. And so I had a little bit of exposure to the breakdancing scene for a few years when I was living in London at Jump Off at Scala and stuff like that. And
wild.
And so I hadn't really danced in a long time. I feel like I got into circles that really weren't about dancing, and they were really ashamed of their inability to dance. So when they couldn't do something, they just poo-poo it, Mm-hmm. I lost my connection, but I think my production job and my exposure to that gave me at least an idea of what to expect when it came to precision. And more importantly, and more recently, I was in Elvis. the movie. And I had to sing and hit marks in a freakishly precise way because, you know, Baz Luhrmann's a precise person. FYI.
I was to say, him or Anderson are the two guys that it's probably like filming a musical.
It was exactly like filming a musical.
Wow, so you already up and running.
There wasn't any difference. It was like, because you're going to run through frame. Hit the spot, or you're like, you're not in the part of the frame, like, or you're blocking someone else who's supposed to also be in frame. So, you know, I'm playing my first solos ever. On film. Yeah. Because I'm a rhythm player. I don't play solos. They don't pay you per note. I ain't playing them. And so here I am trying to hold my life together. And then they're like, okay, guitar off, walk down the steps, stop there. You need to stop there. Go down there, hit the mark. But you can't look at the mark because you're supposed to be interacting with someone who else is in the scene. So your eyes kind of peripherally trying to see like a dot or a line. And then you're trying to not look at that and be like, I'm talking to you. But also Baz is somewhere. So you're trying to look at them and be like, but I can see you and I can see that and I can interact with you authentically whilst feeling something. And so your eye is in 3 places at once.
Yeah.
And you're doing that for 16 hours a day. So when they go, hey, do you want to do a 12-hour rehearsal to get ready in a month to like hit the stage and dance for 2.5 hours and or 5 hours, depending on like if it's a 2-show day or a 1-show day. I'm like, this feels oddly familiar.
Right.
But it's just like the same but cardio edition.
Yeah, because I was going to say, you get to stop after a take, and that's the difference between film and stage. You're on stage for an hour and a half of this. Yeah, you can't go anywhere.
Up, they get me out of whatever my sister is at Tharp shoes are. They get me in my flip-flops. Someone's like poofing my hair. Someone's de-sweating my face. Someone's re-sweating my arms because we're supposed to be in Club Handy. Someone's buffing me tartars. Somebody's like making sure that this outfit is in the right position. Someone's feeding me water. Someone's like, they come in like a Formula One pit stop and like, kind of situation. And that's when you get your little break, you know? And like, it is hardcore, and it's 6 days a week.
Yeah.
And 8 shows and 6. And so like my legs were like, they were like, who do you think you are, girl? I lost 10 inches in 6 weeks.
Wow.
So if anyone asks you, not because I was looking to lose, but like it was just inevitable that was going to happen. And so like that's telling you exactly how hardcore it is. If you want like a measurement of how utterly brutalizing the Persephone run is, like that's a decent measurement to go by.
It's the new workout. Join your local theater troupe. You know, spending all that time with those songs, did that work its way in any of your lyric writing for this EP, or were those not at the same time?
No, they weren't at the same time because the EP was done. And then I got offered the part and I was like, I can't not do this.
You can't
and
not.
So I was like, sorry guys. So I did like a few little shows. I felt like I teased everyone in like New York and DC. And like, it was not fair.
Aww.
And I was like, guys, I'm really sorry. I'm gonna have to take this. So I just put it on hold and did a quick run.
That's cool.
Had some fun. Did something that I didn't know whether I could even do. Because like, you know, I was good at weights, but I was not like a cardio girly. So this was like, I was training to be able to even start, you know?
You're listening to World Cafe. We're here with Yola. Before we wrap, we've got another performance to get to. And this song is a song that I imagine if I told everyone to close their eyes, listen to this song, and dream of a place, paint a picture, it would not, I think a lot of the pictures would be similar, man. I feel like palm trees, I got a beach.
Yes.
I got maybe some carnival vibes.
Yes, you do.
I got like a tequila sunset happening.
Yes, you do.
This song is all, I don't want to be dismissive of the lyrics, but it feels 100% vibes. Am I off on this track at all?
It's the lyric, you're talking about Ready and...
Ready, sorry.
And yeah, and really, no, it's not 100% vibes.
Okay.
It's really about the Windrush generation.
Disabuse me of my ignorance.
So my mother was technically post what would be considered, because I think Windrush was like 50s and 60s, but they were still bringing people over from the Caribbean colonies and Africa and India, but like my experience very much with Caribbean people to the UK in the 70s. So both my parents from, my mother from Barbados, my father from Ghana, came over in the 70s, in that era where, Europeans lost a lot of people in the Second World War, and the whole function of the Windrush was to go to the colony to try and replenish.
Repopulate?
Oh, no, it's more like replenishing people that worked in the civil service or worked in national health or like things like that, you know?
Interesting, yeah.
So like, because it's like the numbers of and the losses were like
Devastating, obviously.
insane, devastating. And so, yeah, they needed help, And so they went over to the UK. They came over from the UK to like places like Barbados, where my mother was, with a promotional video of come to the UK and do this, shot on the sunniest day of the year. I don't know if any of you have been to the UK. I don't know if you've been to the UK. But if you have, then that's some bull. But someone's playing tricks up in here where it's like, I smell the bait and switch a mile off. If English people turn on boats, don't trust them. Mummy! Mummy! They turn up on a boat again! Again! They did that one time. You already know what this is. Anyway. So like,
I'm letting you cook right now.
Hey, Mummy. Not again. Not with the boats. Anyway, anyway, here they are on the freaking boats. Video full of lies, like, Cotswolds, basically where like David Beckham lives now. Like this, look how cute this place is. Like they're gonna be moving there.
Yeah, you're not going. You're not going there.
You're going to Hull, bro. Like you ain't going to frickin' the Cotswolds. You're going to frickin' like Dudley. That's why you're going, sunshine.
So the song sounds like a party, but it's not a party.
It is a party because it's like you get like. Obviously, this is a kind of like definitely immigrants, child of immigrants kind of song. So you get tricked over from essentially paradise because I don't know if you've been to Bridgetown, Barbados, but it's pretty.
It's perfect.
It's perfect. So you got tricked out of heaven to go to rainy, cold hell, and then like you turn up and people are like, "Go back to where you came from." You're like,
"Oh,
I'd love to." Whilst you're at it, get off our beachfront property and we'll go right back tomorrow. Yeah. Right back tomorrow. Won't even freaking think about it. And so the theme is like, you've got to be ready. Get on the jetty, get back on the boat, go back to Barbados. Do you know what? Peace. I'm good. That's really, that's the energy. So it's a party of leaving. And I was at this is kind of coming from like leaving the UK and moving here, but also like just that idea of like, if someone's like, we don't want you here, go back to where you come from. I'm like, my bloodlines come from Bridgetown, Barbados and Accra, Ghana. Buy me a flight, one way, in December for Ghana, if you know, you know. And for August for Bridgetown, Barbados, if you know, you know. And I will go there and you won't see me. I'm fine. Like, yeah, if you've got problems, send me that, please. I wish you had. But to start with, when you're a kid, like you take that as an insult, you know what I mean?
Oh, sure, yeah.
You're like, go back to where you came from. You're like, hey, I was born in Bristol. Like, what are you talking about? And then I was like, they were onto something. God, the decolonizing of my mind was cheating me out of a genius moment. Like, and so I'm like there kind of like coming to the realization as I decolonize, of like, actually, that was a dope idea. Please send me.
Send me. I'm leaving.
Yeah. No, you're great. Like I had so much arthritis in my knees because I was so long in the UK. I got no vitamin D. This skin looks at UK sun rays and goes, like, that sun can't do nothing for me. I'm not supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Send me back. You got to be ready. Take me. I'm good.
What happens if we took all the what happens if we took all the pale Brits with you? What would happen? No.
The crisp up in the sunshine, like a lovely pork rind.
Well, here's the soundtrack to it right now of British people becoming crispy and otherwise going back home and having a party there. Here's Ready from Yola on World Cafe.
You've got to be ready, ready. 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 Get your things and stand on the jelly jelly. You've got to be ready, ready. Pack your bags, meet me on the jelly jelly. It might have to be a long time. I don't know when we'll be back here, but I hope that it's a long while. They deny it, but I can feel that they don't like us. Maybe we live too wild and free. Their madness will live in genius. Oh, you've got to be ready, ready. 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 Get your things and stand on the jelly jelly. You've got to be ready, ready. Pack your bags, meet me on the jelly jelly. Ooh, it doesn't have to be forever. But the more I dream about it, it's making me feel better. All of them deny it, gaslighting on the regular. When they said if you don't like it, leave. I'm like, ooh, but I'm taking all my stuff. And mama me, I am gone. You've got to be ready, ready. 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 Get your things and stand on the jelly jelly. You've got to be ready, ready. Pack your bags, meet me on the jelly jelly. You've got to be ready, ready. 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 Get your things and stand on the jelly jelly. You've got to be ready, ready. Pack your bags, meet me on the jelly jelly. Sometimes we need to get away from our lives. Who can relate? Sometimes we all need a break from the thunder and the rain. Won't you come with me? You've got to be ready, ready. Get your things and stand on the jelly jelly. You've got to be ready, ready. Pack your bags, meet me on the jelly jelly. You've got to be ready, ready. Get your things and stand on the jelly jelly. You've got to be ready, ready. Pack your bags, meet me on the jelly jelly. You've got to be ready, ready. Get your things and stand on the jelly jelly. You've got to be ready, ready. Pack your bags, meet me on the jelly jelly.
You know what? We weren't ready, folks, but we made it. We
Yes,
made
we
it.
did.
I let it wash over you. Recorded live here on World Cafe. It's Yola with the performance of Ready. The new EP, My Way, is available now. Yola, this was so much fun. Anytime you want to come and
Yes.
speak some truth and tell some stories and have
Hey.
some fun, you are more than welcome.
Hey, happy times, happy places, dope people. Thanks.
Beautiful. It's Yola. We're back in a minute with more World Cafe.